My fish are dying, and they are dying from one of the most dreaded disease in the fish keeping hobby, ick. This is my first time dealing with this, and I'm going to be sharing my failures on this as a first time dealing with this and the process of me going through with it. So, oh boy, let's get started. So one thing I like to bring up real quick before I get started is if you guys are looking for more detailed information about what ick is and how it gets started and the process throughout the whole entire thing, there's more experienced YouTubers out there than myself, because I've only been dealing with this hobby for about 1.5 to 2 years, and this is the very first time that I've had to deal with it. If you're looking for a more broad scope idea of everything, I would check out Jason from Primetime Aquatics. He's a biochemist and knows a lot about this stuff. You can look up KG Tropicals, Father Fish, and even Corey from Aquarium Co-op. I'm sure they're going to supply you with enough information to understand this before I get started. And this is not me telling you guys how to solve your problems with ick or any other type of disease. This is just me sharing my experience with you guys on what happened and what I did to try and resolve this problem. And with every success also comes failures. And this is more of a personal experience for me because this is a failure on my part and I wish I had acted quicker. And hopefully you can get something out of it to help you in the future. So let's get into it. One thing to keep an eye on is when a fish starts flashing, like this Madoka white lip starts doing. That's just a sign of discomfort or irritant or something that's bothering them, like this OB is doing as well, that they're just trying to get rid of. But that's definitely something to make note of and keep an eye on for the next several days to make sure symptoms don't get any worse. As symptoms progressed, you can see here that this albino dolphin started heavy breathing, very unnatural, loss of appetite, and eventually starts showing the spots, which is hard to see on a white dolphin, but it did show signs of a little bit of red spots on the dorsal fin. And originally I thought it was a bully situation on top of hole in the head, because one of my fish that died actually had that as well, and probably ick. But I just knew that once this started happening, I started losing fish, that I should have acted quicker and realized the situation was worse than what it actually was. If you start seeing white spots, then the situation has probably gotten worse and you probably don't have much time to save the fish. And here I was just trying to actually see if I could visually see him within the substrate, but I'm not really sure, so leave me a comment down below on if this is possible. I've also raised my tank temperature. Right now it's about 83.5, and the thermometer I have adjusted a little bit more. I like to see it around the 84 to 86 range, so that way I can kill off all those ick parasites. So what I've been using is IckX. This bottle recommends the 5 milliliters per 10 gallons. This is a 75, but with all the substrate and decorations, I usually roughly about 60. For my situation, this is affecting the entire tank, because I've had several fish die off on me already before I figured out what the problem was. So the first time you treat it, you add your correct amount of dosage, and then on your second day of treatment, you do a 30% water change, and then add your second treatment. And you keep going until the problem corrects itself and the ick goes away. So this is my third treatment, and I've just done a 30% water change. So since this is a 75 and it's about maybe 60 gallons give or take of water, I'm going to put 30 milliliters in here to treat this tank for the third day in a row. One thing to keep in mind too, this stuff will stain your fingers if not done carefully. I didn't wear gloves, but as long as you keep your hands in the water, if you do get some of this in your hands, that as long as you rinse in the water real good, that it comes off, but it dries pretty quick if it's out in the air. And it does stain the water to this blue color, but that dissipates after a day. You'll see it happen here in the light, what happens to this. So on top of the FX4 that I have installed here, whenever you're treating for ick, it's always recommended to add as much surface tension as you possibly can, so that way they aren't gasping for breath and might be stressed out due to medication. So I went ahead and added an extra wave maker here, just for that added surface tension. You can either do that, or you can add an extra air stone, but I wanted the max amount of surface tension that I could have with the FX4 and the wave maker, and I have it done in this circular rotation. So it's coming out there, pushing this way, and then that wave maker is going to push it back over to the filter as like a good circulation. Another sort of minor added precaution is whenever I'm treating for disease, I just switch the light off. It just makes it better, in my opinion, for the fish to be more relaxed, because maybe the light might be something that could stress them out as well. And it's probably a very minor thing, but it's just my personal opinion that if I can keep the fish in a more calm state during this whole process between the beginning of ick and the process of medicating, is if I can add any little thing to it to help make it better for them, then I'm gonna do it. So one thing I've learned in this process as well, and I'll let you guys know if you don't know already, is if you ever have any fish die within this ick process, because it's a very terrible disease, that whenever using your nets to take them out of the tank, make sure that you don't cross-contaminate with your nets, your hoses, any of your water change equipment, anything that you put inside this tank, to make sure you only use it for this specific tank only. Because there is a possibility that you could bring this disease over to another tank just by using the same equipment. And then of course when you're done and the disease resolves itself and everything's fine, make sure that you run them through really hot water, make sure if you need to bleach them, and then let them sit and dry for several days before you start using the nets and equipment in other tanks. And it may not be a good idea just to have these hoses specifically for this situation, or only use them for this purpose. So that's a good piece of information that I thought was really useful, and I'm hoping that you guys will understand that as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I know that it sucks sharing the failures that I had in my life with my fish hobby, but I feel like this is one that I should make note, and hopefully that you guys can get something out of it as well. And if you have any helpful tips and anything else that might help within this situation for me, or anything else, then leave it down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and come hang out with me when I post out new videos. So, nice to hang out. Wish me luck.